The D and Davis Show.
D and Davis Show. We got a lot to get into. Coming back to the sports after a terrific D and Davis to flip with Montez Allen.
Yes.
2 Z's. Montez has gotten his condo down there in Macon. I saw on the Twitter today.
Oh, he's down there?
Yeah, he's down there
I didn't
already.
see it today.
So, or he may not be down there, but he may have just they faxed it to him.
That's what's up.
So shout out to Montez. Continue following Montez, and it was a terrific flip.
Yeah, it was.
With us, all of us guys. Tony was there.
So proud of him, man.
Yeah. So make sure you just continue to rock with the flip for our other side, even though that one's kind of was a sports show. So sports fans who don't necessarily listen to the flip, that would be a good episode to listen to. We kind of do broach sports occasionally on the flip, but we try to keep it to everything else, even though because we do this show, we always bring it back to sports.
Yes.
We got a lot to get into today to help us with break down what's happening in the upcoming finals with the Golden State Warriors facing the Toronto Raptors. An old friend of the show, Eddie Maisonet III, will be joining us to give us that perspective and also talk NBA. There was a lot of news about the Lakers today after our Baxter Holmes article came out on ESPN.com. And then a little bit later, we're going to switch to the MLB to break down the Cubs and the White Sox. And again, friend of the show, Matt Snyder from CBS is going to join us to let us know what's going on on the north side and the south side when it comes to the boys of summer. I am Kenneth Davis, and the next voice you hear is the chocolate one himself. His name is
D. Demon Spurrier right here. Hey, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at D and Davis Show. Once again, it's at D and Davis Show. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Music, Stitcher, the TuneIn app. We're on Anchor. That's hit you on Spotify and YouTube. Shout out to Ryan for all that. Also hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/D and Davis Show. Emails, dndavishow@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at Demons1, DEMONZE1. Ken is on Twitter at That's Davis. There you go. Executive producer of D and Davis Show and D and Davis to Flip with Mr. Ryan Bukovetsky. See,
he didn't do it that time.
No, but
he usually goes Bukovetsky.
Bukovetsky. I like throwing a little sauce on his name. There you go. Make sure you follow Ryan on Twitter at Ryan B.
He doesn't like your sauce.
What?
What? I like the sauce.
There you go.
What kind of sauce is it?
It's mouse sauce.
I've been hearing that kind of sauce on that last name for a long time.
What kind of sauce do you like?
I'm a sauce guy.
What kind of sauce is it?
Man, you can't put me down. One.
Yes, one.
How many sauces is it? How many sauces out there?
I love some marinara.
You
Love some barbecue sauce.
I don't like chicken marinara sandwiches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
marinara, I don't go crazy
it's
over.
Too much. There needs something to cut it. It's nothing that there's no umami.
What?
Yeah.
It's not a balance.
More.
You need something to cut through that marinara when it comes to that breaded chicken patty.
Foodie Talk with Ken Davis.
And Ryan Booker.
Mayonnaise, though. Mayonnaise might be my go-to.
Oh!
Love mayo on so many
tuna.
things.
Only with tuna.
Sandwiches, BLT.
Hate mayonnaise.
I don't get the black hate mayonnaise thing.
I hate mayonnaise.
Here, have a bite of this sandwich.
Man, how did you know I was hungry? I ain't ate nothing this morning. You trying to kill me?
If you're going to pass in white America, you are going to have to learn to like mayonnaise. No.
Sorry, blackies. I'm not riding with y'all on that.
I hate mayonnaise.
I like mayonnaise. Listen, one thing that's cool,
I don't
though,
like sandwiches like that either.
See, we could tell. We knew that. That was clear when you start opening your mouth, buddy.
No.
Because anybody eats sandwiches.
Tuna.
You know how
Only
well... Do you know...
Wait. Cindy Brown's here too. That's it, Kid 80.
Do you know how well your ingredients have to be to not use mayo? And that's one thing when you go to some of these sandwich places and you taste it, you're like, what type of oil was that? There wasn't any mayo. But outside of that, you need mayo on every sandwich damn near that's ever made. Hell, and for that,
It's just too dry otherwise.
Wait a minute, okay, so mayo or Miracle Whip? Then.
No,
mayo.
Miracle Whip is...
What's wrong with Miracle Whip? I don't eat neither. I'm just asking.
Miracle Whip is a funny joke that when I was a kid in the
real.
projects, it was great.
Oh.
But a real person, you don't want something that tangy to interfere with your sandwich. Like it's basically it's too hard. Is that tang for you to enjoy whatever the hell the sandwich is made out of?
To me, if you're a flavor connoisseur, you got to go mayo over Miracle Whip every
Whip is
time.
a joke, unless you're like making potato salad.
You go a little vacation from yourself. Like I'm gonna try Miracle Whip today.
Yeah, look at me. I'm in Miracle Whip land. Mayo.
I only use mayo with tuna. That's it.
But this is the thing. How can mayo taste bad, but you use it with tuna?
I gotta have some with tuna. That's
that's meat on the sandwich.
This is with me growing my pops having the Subways. And I like tuna. And I was like, what? You know, and I was a shorty too. So I never saw anybody like make tuna. You know what I'm saying? My grandma, I wasn't in the kitchen with my grandma while she was making tuna stuff with my grandfather. So when I got to Subway, about 9 years old, probably about 10 years old, I was like, oh, so that's how you make the tuna. And I'm fine with that. But put it on the sandwich, don't want no parts of it.
Same thing.
Don't want no part of it.
I can do tuna salad on a sandwich.
Yeah.
Let's say you're constructing a sandwich at home.
Okay.
What's on there?
I don't like sandwiches.
So you're just you don't make a sandwich at home.
So
Peanut butter jelly sandwich, as far as I go.
Terrible. Clearly,
A grilled cheese sandwich?
Clearly, you would not like mayo.
grilled cheese.
Anybody that says I don't like sandwiches,
I don't like sandwiches.
that's the only thing you put mayo on, unless you're making some type of tuna salad or something.
Yeah.
So if you don't like sandwiches, just leave our mayo conversation alone.
But I'm sure you will have some people out there that put mayo on some of everything. You know, you always had them kind of people. Oh, I like to put mayonnaise on this.
Like the French mayonnaise instead of ketchup.
I like honey mustard.
Yeah.
I like honey mustard with my fries.
You always ask
I
for
like
some
that.
honey mustard will be out somewhere.
But the key is a sauce with the fries. Because I'm a sauce guy.
He
Barbecue-
offered you
barbecue
mild
sauce.
sauce though.
mild sauce is the best. That's why.
I would take it.
Best sauce?
Mild sauce is
There's only one thing you can put mild sauce.
Yes.
How can be the
On
best
what?
sauce and it's only one thing
fried
you put
food.
it on?
Fried food.
Not fried food.
Fried food.
I don't want mild sauce fish.
Oh, good mild sauce on a
No.
catfish? Fried catfish? Oh, I eat it every time.
But
Taco Bell mild sauce.
part
That's
of
it.
part of the best thing about fried fish is the crispiness of it.
It's still crispy.
Not with mild sauce.
You don't have to drape it up. You don't got to douse it in it. Just give me a good layer of mild sauce.
Tartar sauce on the side.
Ooh, that fried
Thank you.
catfish. Fried
Maybe
perch.
some hot sauce. Now we're talking about
Yeah,
I don't like
hot
I don't like hot
sauce.
sauce. I don't like hot sauce.
Okay, this needs to end.
I don't like hot sauce. I don't like hot food like that. I just got around to using crushed red pepper on my pizza. Wow. There you go.
Dang, just got to that.
Yeah. I'm not a foodie, dude.
I've been putting crushed red pepper in my eggs since I was 9. Right? Like,
Hey, I don't do hot food like that. I'm not a foodie. It's there. I eat it. That's about
we
it.
get it. Sorry for bringing everything down.
I ain't break it down.
You did.
How?
Because we were enjoying
Hating on one of the most
tastes.
beloved condiments
Hot
in
sauce?
the history of man.
Really? It's hot sauce.
Mayonnaise.
Oh,
Are you
man,
a mayo guy?
No, I am not. I'm not a hot sauce guy either.
Thank you, Sid.
What are you, man?
Mild sauce, and it goes on Harold's chicken. That is it.
That's what I'm saying. Chicken.
Look at this.
Thank
But wait, what do you put on your sandwiches?
Black ass side on this over here in this board.
I put nothing on mine. I used to when I was little, only because that was because of my mother. But since I've been grown,
So you disrespect
nothing.
your mama?
No.
Because she taught you a way. She showed you
I'm
something.
a grown ass man, so
She showed you the right
so I
way.
do it my own damn
So you
way.
just eating dry sandwiches then?
Yes.
Not no jardinera, no nothing?
No.
No oil?
No.
What the?
Yeah,
What's
see,
going on here?
Oil on a
Can't do
sandwich?
it.
Hell yeah!
There's
Like a
got to
Subway
be some
sandwich.
liquid.
Like
Yes, how you
olive
work at
oil.
Subway and say no oil on a
I had to
sandwich?
think about it for a second. Olive oil. Let me tell you something. I will say this though. That sandwich artist you should wear on a t-shirt, a polo at Subways, I am a sandwich artist. I will hook your sandwich up. I can make it for you. Oh, I can make it for you.
No, you can't.
Oh, yes, I can, brother. Man, plenty of times, a young
First of all, let's lead off with this.
14-year-old something at Subway on 71st and Western, people come in like, where's that little short guy? Look, oh yeah, I want to make my
Let me
sandwich.
hurt this
I would
sponsorship.
do like 3 foot longs in a row. What you got? I can
Let
cut
me
it
hurt
like in
this
a U. I can
sponsorship
flip
real
it open.
quick. Subway sucks.
You know what, Subway? I don't eat Subway.
Thanks, Mr. I made these sandwiches and
I can make them though.
I don't eat the trash.
Hey, I mean,
Nobody
listen.
that's a real sandwich person, the first thing they'll be like, man, I'm about to buy this Subway.
Yeah.
Subway is like,
Bottom of the totem pole.
yes, but like entry level sandwiches.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that
Hey,
it's like
entry
a
level
supreme
sandwich.
hoagie.
So when you tell me I can make a Subway sandwich, it's like telling me I can get that you go running again.
Hey, I'm telling you this much.
I got $5 going to Subway.
Whoa!
Now listen, I remember when a ham and cheese, no, a cold cut combo was $1.09.
Hey,
$1.09.
I know that was rancid meat.
Oh, it was good meat.
it was bologna.
That meat
It was
came
bologna. Thank you.
straight from the back of the truck.
Bologna, salami, and ham.
Is that you, Lou Aldane, selling this meat to me?
No.
Clearly fraudulent meat.
Thanks, Danny Ferry.
Oh man. Hey, listen, I love Subway. Help me put me through college. But nah, man, a good sandwich. I'm telling you, dude, I could hook you.
You
up
don't
with
like
stuff.
sandwiches.
I'm not a sandwich
I
guy.
don't. That's
I
like
used
a barber with dreads. Nah. Right? Like
that
when the
is-
last time you lined yourself up, bro?
That is terrible. What about a bald person?
I know he has to still shave himself.
Well, that's easy though. You just shave your head.
Still, I know he's practicing.
What about a woman?
I've had a woman.
Okay, all right.
I'm not that type of dude.
I'm just asking.
I had a woman that she used to kill my lining when I was in maybe I was in high school. I've had at least I've had at least 2 women barbers for extended amount of time.
I want to ask you, where'd you go for haircuts at Southern?
Students' rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I used to do in Northern.
It was a Kappa named Breeze. Man, he used to had this joke about sleeping with the brush. He was Mr. 360. So if you can get Breeze to do your hair.
What does that even mean?
Oh, man. That's how you got your his waves.
His waves,
It was like,
okay.
you got to sleep with that brush, right?
Wake up.
It was a Kappa named Breeze. It was a dude, a brother in University Hall who used to cut us up initially. So it was fine. Or I'll be coming home. My father was sick initially, so I was home. And then I was taking care of my grandma and my great aunt. So I'll be home at least every other week.
Damn, from Southern?
Yep.
From Carbondale?
Because how was I just going to leave? How could I just be like, yeah, you take care of that,
Yeah,
Mom?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like, no. I mean, when I say at least, I mean, that means a lot of times I was home every other week, but I was at home at least.
Wow.
I was at home for the most part every other week. Maybe rarely it was 2 weeks.
Man, my mama didn't see me for months.
No, I stayed on the road.
Northern is only like 45 minutes, hour
when I
away.
got my own car, I stayed on the road. It'd be nothing for me. I probably do it in 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Dude, it's like a 6-hour drive.
It's 4.
4 hours? I thought it was longer than that. You
It's
at the tip of, well, yeah,
First of all,
that's true. That's Carbon.
I was 19 years old.
So you was flying.
That's at least 85 miles an hour. It's nothing to see. Let's see how far. And I mean, I wasn't a daredevil, but yeah, I mean, I still, I don't drive slow now.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm old and I don't drive slow. Imagine how I drove 20 years ago.
Good Lord. Everybody put on your seatbelts, everybody.
I'm the first person to put my seatbelt on.
Yeah,
and it's not even from, I don't get in accidents.
And I'm thinking about that too. Going downstate to Illinois, you're not seeing anything.
Nothing.
Once you get 2 hours south of Illinois, not even 2 hours, probably an hour and a half. You ain't seeing
It's not even
nothing.
an hour and a half.
Yeah, you passed like
About an hour.
Bourbon,
An hour?
and that was it.
Nothing.
I was going to say, right past Kankakee,
Yeah.
it was dead.
Nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is nothing. So, yeah. But nah, man. Ryan never been a sandwich guy. I used to put them in my pockets when I was a kid. My mother do my laundry, find sandwiches in my pocket. Never liked them. Yeah.
Why the hell would you put them in your pocket?
I don't know. I was a kid.
All right. So,
I give them away and put them in my pocket. My mama say, "What is this sandwich in here, boy? I'm feeding you."
Look at sandwich pockets over there.
meaty pockets.
Meaty pockets over there. I have a pocket. I have my pockets.
The beginning of hot pockets.
Meat in my pockets.
Listen, turn on the television today and it lets you know that we're in the lull in the sports world. The first thing that was trending was old Lakers stuff that we basically already knew.
Yeah.
Baxter Holmes from ESPN wrote a detailed article about the miscomings of the past few 2.5 Lakers seasons since Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson were put in power as president and general manager.
As you read this, what was the one thing that stood out most for you?
DJ, you know this. This is what happens when you're a part of a bad team. The Lakers haven't made the playoffs in the last 6 years, whether Kobe was in uniform, LeBron's in uniform, whether Magic's in the front office, whether Jeannie's owner in the team, whether Rob Pelinka's in tow. They've been a bad team. So what happens when you struggle? Everybody points fingers. It's CYA time. Each person is trying to make sure that their best interest gets covered for public consumption.
One of the funny notes, though, of course, was him detailing how Rob Pelinka had a genius, had some type of seminar or whatever called like genius meetings or something for the players. And while Dwayne Rock Johnson was there, went on to interrupt, as I'm sure he does all the time, with a Kobe story, but detail how Kobe told him when they were going to visit New York to play the Knicks, "Hey man, what's his name? Heath
Ledger.
Heath Ledger, thank you. Heath Ledger, man.
Ethan Hawke. How
Damn
dare
right
you.
I was.
How dare you? Respect the dead.
He looked like he was really locked in this movie that hasn't come out yet. Could you hook me up with him, right? Now, everybody knows that Heath Ledger died 6 months before the movie would drop, because that was part of the thing about when we were watching, like, man, this, because we heard about how he got locked into the character.
Was it that long before it came out?
Yeah, it was. It was. But see, time back then, it was fast because we were young, right? Even though it's still faster now, but it was funny, and you saw people sitting there writing. I even saw it on NBA Desktop. From The Ringer, because they were one of the first people to blow up that story, and this was months ago. And like, this is BS. There's no way that this actually happened.
He was dead.
Rob Pelinka got issues.
For real.
Versus from looking like Rob Below's.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's
understudy.
number one.
Like, look at my pouty lips. Blue steel. Like, Rob Pelinka's that blue steel over there. But look, I mean, this is a question definitely to ask Eddie Maisonet when he joins us later. What's the odds of the Lakers in the next 3 seasons making it to an NBA Finals?
Slim to damn none.
Yeah, I mean,
they got to have the basketball heavens open up and part of the ways of those clouds, and here comes either Kawhi Leonard or Anthony Davis.
Well, from the sounds of it, Rob isn't going anywhere.
No, he's got the power.
And unless they reshuffle the front office, you're going to have to deal with that. Rob's been a good drafter, I guess, overall as a GM, but we don't know what he's going to be like signing free agents. And all the kids he drafted, I don't know if any of them are a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a 4th pick in the draft, but if he doesn't bring in somebody, I think it's over.
Won't they? I mean, they're going to get someone. We just don't know if it's going to be a big enough star.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that they're going to get someone?
Someone's going to go play with LeBron. The question is, will he at least be on the top of tier B? That's the real question.
Okay, so are you Xing out tier A guys? And tier A guys will be Kyrie, Kawhi, and Anthony Davis, and that has to be via trade. That has to be via trade.
Is Jimmy Butler an A guy?
He's the very top of tier B.
I would say A talent, but just him is a lot to deal with, and I think that drops him down to a B.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's going to be doing that with LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron I think will elevate him.
Because it's the thing. LeBron doesn't go soft. Like with Jimmy,
no, he doesn't. And Jimmy Butler doesn't go soft either.
But Jimmy really wants to see effort. Like if you lose, and not to say that Jimmy still won't be Jimmy if they're losing, but if Jimmy can see that you're giving it your all and losing, I don't think you get as much of a problem with Jimmy.
Yeah.
But even when Philadelphia, he's dealing with the growing pains of these players, and they may be doing as well as maybe they think. But it seems like even with him and Joel Embiid, they kind of had to work it out before they kind of clicked and got it together. So I mean, I don't think he has to get. And of course, it's better to get a tier A person, but I don't think it's bad if he ends up with Jimmy and someone else. It's just, do they fall into their roles properly?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. It's more so the roles and who these guys are. To your initial question, I don't think so. I look at just the landscape of the NBA and looking at these younger guys who are these tier A guys. They kind of want their own team.
And they've won already. They've won titles. So that's in the situation was like, man, I have to legitimize, like Anthony Davis.
Yes.
I'm trying to legitimize my career with the ring.
Right.
So let me go to someone who's done it before.
And you have to get him via trade. And I don't want to rule out, although it's probably like a 5% chance of it happening, him staying in New Orleans, and they have a potential generational player with Zion Williams. I'm not saying that
I'm not saying that you're wrong. You said 5%. I
give it like 5%
But see Tracy
chance.
McGrady in the Magic. Like usually, I mean, I think this happened like twice, kind of where the team got a high draft pick, a young talent coming in, and the player had already said, I want out. And the player's like, I'm not about to try to grow up with this person. Right. I'm at my limit now. If I was at my limit, why do you think that I want to start? And it won't be starting from the bottom because AD will be there, but still in his mind, it's not to where I'm tired of wasting these years. I want to get onto this part of my career.
Yeah, and you're playing in the West, and you still have Golden State, who's probably going to be some version of probably maybe the OG version of the Golden State. Maybe KD is just go ahead and stay there. You still have to worry about Houston. You have an uprise in Denver. You have an uprise in Portland. In the West is a lot harder. So if AD was to move, you think he would go East? And if you go West, you can pair it with LeBron, but I still don't think you're going to beat any of those teams. Yeah, I just don't think they're there. And we're looking at LeBron James. Okay, he has another year in his contract, but he opted. Was it 3-1?
It's 3.
3. Okay,
3-1. It's 3-1.
It's 3-1, right?
It's 3 years. Is basically how you should look at it.
Basically, right? So he just had his first major injury. You want to try to see if that doesn't continue next season. It's a groin, though. But still, though.
Again, like I said, like no one ended their career because they're groin.
No. But the only thing I'm saying is, do you start to see?
The hernia took me out.
Do you start to see him take a 2-week vacation? Not because he's LeBron James.
He did it before when he first got to Cleveland.
But do you start to see him take a 2-week vacation because he has these nicks and pains?
I think you want him to take a 2-week vacation.
Yeah, you do. But
especially if the team is going well.
But with that team, in that case, you want to see him do a 2-week vacation. You got to have somebody there who can supplement the team.
Yeah, you
just don't have that.
Yeah, you was going to bring up. You brought up my next point. While I was going to piggyback off of Ken earlier, just with Jimmy along with LeBron is not going to do it. You need a strong A personality, and like Ken said, the team is going well, and LeBron is injured. Okay, LeBron James, you take your time and heal over any injuries that you have, and then Jimmy and the other A+ personality, their superstar guy, they can carry the team until LeBron gets back, because Jimmy and LeBron alone is not going to get it done, especially with the teams you mentioned, D, in the Western Conference. This is not going to get it done. Jimmy Butler's going to potentially have problems with the rest of those young guys that's still on that team. And LeBron James, heaven forbid that he's injured again, he's going to say to himself, oh, damn, I got to go straighten this mess out. I'm already hurt, and now I'm going to have to play babysitter to these young grown men. I'm not going to have that. I didn't sign up for that.
I noticed something today, and I've been thinking about it, but it hit me for sure. You're Black Sid today, huh?
Reggie Davis taking off.
Why? Before you were happy. Now you're not.
Mouse sauce on chicken.
No, that's not it. I was thinking, Sydney, when you got here.
No mayonnaise.
When you got here,
no mayonnaise.
I was like, clearly you are Black, Sydney. You don't like the mayo. See, I'm not black like you. I love the mayo. You're blacks. But look, this is what came on. When I don't have a jacket today. So we're sitting downstairs, and Sydney, your raincoat. I was like, oh, I like that raincoat, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
And then I looked at the
Yeah, I
hoodie.
bought it yesterday.
I thought it was brand. I said, that looked like fresh off the rack right there. And then I looked at that hoodie. I was like, okay, you got your taxes on.
No.
But I said, Sydney's out here showing them, so clearly he must be black. His style is letting me know he's Black Sid today.
Hit the Nike outlet. 87 to Cottage Grove. Is that
He's on
Cottage Grove?
vacation.
Yeah, he's on
Was
vacation.
that a Nike coat?
But
Was that a Nike jacket?
no, this is excuse me for the free advertising, but this was Champion
Okay.
jacket. So
That's a nice jacket.
I needed I'll just get into what happened on my Memorial Day on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
I was at the Sox game. It was potential rain. Of course, we all saw what happened there. So I said, let me buy my rain jacket because I didn't have a backup. So let me buy a rain jacket. I'll take it to me to the game. Of course, I needed it, but I was under an awning for most of the Sox game after the fourth inning. Of course, all the rain came down.
Right.
So
Whoa, I saw
put it
your
on.
posts. You said yesterday was the day to stay home. I know.
He said he was going anyway. He told us that Saturday.
I know. He should have just been like, yeah, I'm going. But you know what?
I'm not going.
I'm saying
You're right in a sense, but I know I have a different mentality than most people, especially what we do in this business. So I said, instead of whining and complaining, which I don't have the energy to do,
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to turn myself into a reporter. And so unlike White Sox Twitter yesterday, and some of the other reporters that we had on the show, like Shea Pebble, she was out there yesterday from Fox 32 in Chicago, and James Fegan from The Athletic, who we had on the show before. They were basically tweeting out updates better than the Sox people who run their Twitter department over there. So, and I said, what the hell is going on over there? So I started talking with a few fans and then taking pictures and videos and whatnot for my Twitter. And so I got more response from anonymous people than White Sox Twitter that they were giving out information to their fans.
Shots fired. Look at Sidney Brown. You bums. You bums. Sidney Brown here, reporting live.
White Sox players were the only ones losing.
so. The Lakers in the next 3 years, they sniff a finals?
To me, I think their best case scenario, the way it's looking, is if Kyrie goes there, or if Kyrie doesn't, goes with KD, then you get Jimmy Butler and you try to trade for Anthony Davis and get your superstar, get a
That'd
third.
kind of be a team,
What are
too.
you sending to New Orleans to get Anthony Davis?
sending what you were
Everything
sending
got.
before, but more.
Laker, you only giving LeBron and Jimmy.
I mean, but other teams out there are going to have better packages.
But this is a question. The real team that we're talking about is who? Boston? If Kyrie
I don't know.
doesn't
Somebody
sign,
else come along and say, I give you the next 4 first round. I don't know.
The problem is how many teams are going to give you all of their players if that's not a destination that Anthony Davis wants to. So, I
You're in a
mean,
conundrum.
again, those teams may try, but most teams are going to pull back whatever they're going to give you if they don't have some type of promise that he intends to sign with them moving forward. So that hinders the amount of teams that are going to be in it.
Yeah. Oh, listen, they're in a tough spot right now, but you know what? It's of their own doing. All right, we're going to get into some more basketball with Eddie Maisonet III of ESPN. Basketball talk, NBA Finals, Golden State Warriors, all that. D and Davis Show.
Hey, this is Rich Campbell from the Chicago Tribune, and you're listening to The D and Davis Show.
D and Davis Show, and right now we have an old friend of the show. You can find him editing at ESPN. He's come through a lot since we've known him. He's the one and the only Eddie Maisonet III.
The third.
Follow him at Ed the Sports Fan. You listeners know him. We haven't talked to him in a while. How you doing, Eddie?
Hey, man, I'm out here trying to campaign, man. It's the finals, man. That means my job gets harder and then a lot easier afterwards. So I'm here with you.
A lot more fun, too, though, right?
I mean, of course, and we get to see everybody in the Bay Area stressed out regardless of the wins or losers because they feel like the world's about to come to an end. They could win and be sad at the end, which is hilarious and awesome. So I'm here for it.
So let's focus on that from the Bay Area perspective. From what I'm taking from what you're saying is the fact that one, KD may leave and they're upset. There's no silver lining whatsoever, or is the only silver lining is if they win and KD comes back next season also?
No, I think there's a larger chunk of Warriors fans who really, truthfully, and honestly want the OG Warriors to get their roses. They want Steph to get his ultimate glory. He should have got his ultimate glory years ago when Ake Iguodala got his MVP. Yep. There are some Warriors fans who will still tell you to this day they didn't want KD to ever come to the team. Now, that doesn't mean they aren't swimming in the spoils of getting KD to come to the Warriors. But there are some people that will forever believe they didn't need KD, and there's a potential argument for that. And so I would say that there is not only Warriors fans, but just basketball fans in general that want to see if the OG Warriors can complete the journey without him. And honestly, it's funny. Like, I don't necessarily know if this speaks to Warriors fans versus I want to, me personally, I'm here to see basketball kind of burn. And I would personally like to see these OG Warriors do it as a reminder of how good that team was from 2014 to 2016. I mean, the team won 142 games in 2 seasons, and if Draymond Green wasn't kicking people in the nuts, they might have 2 championships. Yep. So, and there are a lot of people that want to say that, they didn't have to go through a full slate in their first championship, and some of the things that they're all doing along with LeBron and Kyrie going Super Saiyan in 2016, that's a knock against them. But that 2014 to 2016 run of the Warriors is arguably the best basketball we've seen played in a long time. And I think that there's a real wanting of recognition for what those OG Warriors did and can still do, even if KD decides to leave.
D and Davis recording in 670 The Score Studios. On the line right now, Eddie Maisonet III. Eddie, real quick before D jumps in, one more question on KD and the Warriors. If I was a Warriors fan, I would like to see the old Warriors win the title, but I still would want KD to return next season. Do most of the fans that want them to win the old way still desire to have KD back, or do they think this team can still be as successful going back to the old way over the long haul?
You're asking, do we think that the Warriors going back to the old way, can they be successful for the long haul? I just want to make sure I got your question.
Yes, like without K, like for instance, right now, if I was a Warriors fan, I'd be like, yeah, man, I want my team to do it the old way. People forgot how we used to do it. Mm-hmm. But still, I would factor in the truth is this team, even though it may not be as pretty to some fans, when you have a top 3 player along with all the talent on this team, basically it's a fait accompli that you're going to be in the finals. Do most fans they want this team to win, the old core to win, but do they want that to happen, but KD to return, or do they want this prolonged where KD is gone and they're getting their old Warriors back?
Yeah, let's just deconstruct it a little bit. The reason why Kevin Durant was so highly sought after by the Warriors is because when the finals get here and the playoffs get toughest, so let's think about 2016 Oklahoma City. Let's think about the 2015 and 2016 Cavaliers. Those teams could switch everything defensively. They could nullify more than anybody else in the league, okay? And the Warriors started to feel struggle because they didn't have anybody that could really generate their own shot, okay? Mm-hmm. So that was the impetus of Draymond Green and the Hamptons 4 crooning to get the Hamptons 5, so to speak, okay? So let's say Kevin Durant leaves. Look, they could easily go and get to Paris and come back with a really formidable squad. I mean, Tobias Harris is affordable. They'll have money for a pretty high back slot guy. I don't know if they decide to trim the roster enough, they could get a max slot under the cap. You telling me Tobias Harris? So let's just think about it from the spectrum from Harrison Barnes to Kevin Durant. Tobias Harris feels like that mid-level option between what Harrison Barnes was, which is not a scrub, and what KD is, which is a top 3 player in the league, right? Tobias Harris on that current roster, they can switch everything. They still have perimeter shooter. They have another guy that can kind of do a bit of everything. That's probably still the best team in the NBA. If I'm just gonna keep it a buck, Tobias Harris instead of KD, I'm still picking the Warriors to be the best team in the NBA. And they'll still be able to play the same type of basketball that they want to play. Now, does that mean that they aren't susceptible to struggling to get their own shot from time to time? Yes. But you know what? I need some of these teams that have some weaknesses. The Golden State Warriors got Kevin Durant, and they had no flaws whatsoever. The biggest flaw that they have now is that when Kevin Durant is on the team, that they become slightly predictable because KD is that effing good.
Yep.
Okay? So the reason that they are predictable is the only reason that you could potentially slow them down because, as even Stephen Curry said, they don't go into hyperspeed and cutting and sharing the ball and doing those things because you have Kevin Durant who can go supernova. So what did the Clippers do? They loaded up on trying to stop Kevin Durant. What did the Rockets hope to do? They tried to load up on stopping Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant got hurt, and then the Warriors went to their old school ways, and the Rockets and the Blazers were like, oh, snap, we didn't miss this version at all. So, I'm here for teams kind of having weaknesses because that's the only way you get better. As the Milwaukee Bucks, when their weaknesses got exposed, Giannis needs a mid-range game.
Yep.
He needs a floater. It happened to James Harden. James Harden got exposed in the same way, and now he has the best floater in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, man, let these teams evolve. Let them get better. To me, that's always going to be the knock on the Warriors for me. It's like, man, Kevin Durant did not allow the Warriors to potentially evolve. And I don't want to say go through struggle because, like, your general manager should prevent you from struggling. But at the same time, like, this team is so freaking awesome that, like, it's covering up any dings and patches you might have. And so, but, yeah, man, let them have some struggle. Let's see if they can overcome it. I'm here for that.
Hey, Eddie, can you give us an update on DeMarcus Cousins and if he's back, his potential impact on the team in his upcoming finals?
I don't have an update other than, the guys here at ESPN and they said that if he really wanted to play and put it all on the line, he could. He probably couldn't be all that beneficial to the team because he probably only play about 10 to 15 minutes at most. And I think you actually have to have a different conversation on what benefits the Warriors. The benefit that DeMarcus Cousins brings more than anything else, in my opinion, is that he can stretch the floor as a five. All of those other things that you need him to do, especially if you got someone coming off of that quad injury, the Warriors need bigs that can switch and rebound and move the ball. And it's not to say that DeMarcus can't do those things, but Looney's does that job at a high level.
Yeah.
Bogut does it at a decent level. The thing that Boogie does better than anything else is he can finish better than both of those guys. He can shoot threes at both of those guys. But if he's only going to be 70%, then I think you start having the question of diminishing returns and how much are you actually gaining for it. I actually think he's probably going to suit up. And they will give him I wouldn't be surprised if you saw him get that second quarter run with the second unit, maybe 5 to 10 minutes at a time when they can afford to let the game hang in the balance to a degree. But I don't see him playing substantial minutes, cutting into the Hamptons 5, any depth lineups or anything like that, unless he shows he can dominate those second units, then maybe he'll earn his playing time in the finals, which is a crazy concept because who earns playing time in the finals?
Right.
So Boogie's good enough that he could actually do it.
D and Davis show recording right here at 670 Score. On the line with us right now, Eddie Maisonet the third. Make sure y'all follow Eddie on Twitter at Ed the Sports Fan. Game strategy against the Raptors going into this finals. What does the Warriors need to do to make sure that Kawhi Leonard doesn't go Kawhi Leonard on them?
I don't think they're going to do anything specifically. Look, they face a team that has a singular superstar before. They did it with Kevin Durant when he was on the Thunder. They've done it with James Harden with the Rockets. They've done it even if there's a secondary player or a secondary shot creator. They have enough. This is the thing about the Warriors. They have enough long, lengthy, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" defenders that they can lap upon Kawhi's shores time and time again with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston. And if Kevin Durant decides to step onto that basketball court, then you have a 7-foot dude who says he's 6'9", who can also do the same thing. That doesn't mean Kawhi won't cook and chef and do all those things that he does. But frankly, I'm worried about players 2 through 12 because the Raptors, I don't think were the prime example of scoring efficiency against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they really outlasted the Bucks because defensively, like we just talked about, they exposed Giannis offensively, and that created more opportunities for them to break, for them to make Giannis a non-factor in some ways and to take some of his confidence. And they were able to outlast them in that way. And also, it's interesting to think the Bucks didn't really have. They were only really content on putting Middleton on Kawhi, and Middleton's really good, but they didn't really put Giannis out there because they needed Giannis to switch on the bigs to Siakam and in some places Gasol and Ibaka. I don't think the Warriors are going to have that issue. They'll be able to keep fresher bodies, all world defenders on Kawhi, not in a way that the Bucks could. And so that will be interesting to see how that plays out more than anything.
Real quick before we get you out of here, one, what's your prediction for the finals? And also, what the hell is going on in L.A.? Even more articles coming out from Baxter Holmes on the Lakers today, and it seems like it brought everything back out that we heard from last couple weeks when Magic was on First Take. But what are your predictions for the finals?
I am on record. I'm going with the gentleman's sweep, Warriors in 5. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that I was genuinely happy. I was sitting here in the ESPN LA office watching Game 6, Raptors Bucks. I was genuinely happy for Kyle Lowry. I've never been happier for Kawhi Leonard in my life. And just seeing, like, Kawhi Leonard looks like he's actually having the time of his life, which you can hardly ever tell. He actually looks like it, which is awesome. And I'll even go so far as to say I'm pulling for the Raptors to win. Like, I am not so much of a media member that I'm willing to be completely unbiased. I want to see these Raptors succeed. But I'm going to reference what I just spoke about before. This OG Warriors squad with Steph, Clay, Dre, Andre, Livingston. I mean, fine, we can throw Bogut in there, whatever. Kerr is there. Like, those 5, 6 dudes, the amount of institutional knowledge they have with each other and the way that they've evolved over time, there's nothing I see the Raptors putting out there that they haven't done. Okay, you want to put Lance out there, you want to put Ibaka, you want to put Siakam, you want to put Kawhi and Danny Green out there. They faced that team before. It's called the Oklahoma City Thunder years ago. Oh, you want to try to go out here and go one-man supernova with Kawhi? They faced that before. They faced it with LeBron James in the NBA Finals on multiple occasions. And they did it with KD and without KD. And to me, I look at it as the Warriors have something to prove, which is the other thing about what Durant not being there matters, because I do think that the weakness of the Warriors was that they would settle. And the thing that Kerr always had to coach was motivating them to play at their highest level, which they didn't need to. They had Kevin Durant. And that could come out as skeptical or hating or whatever of the Warriors. I don't think there's a better organization I've seen in the last couple of decades from a sports standpoint better than the Warriors. And yet I think that you're going to have 4 Hall of Fame players, including Iguodala when he turns like 73. He'll get the OG Old Man Hall of Fame guy. But you're going to have 3 top 50 players in Iguodala with something to prove. And if KD decides to step back at some point, that's cool. But I think you're going to see Steph go claim his roses. Draymond wants his money. There's your motivation right there. Clay wants money too. So, like, you got 2 dudes that want money. You got Steph that wants to prove. Remind y'all, y'all were considering me the best player in the world. I'm still the same player. And that team and I will say even this. I think that organization wants to do that for them too. I don't necessarily believe the Warriors are holding out KD on purpose, but it doesn't seem like they are all that willing to rush him out there either. And I think the organization doesn't owe KD anything because he never committed to the organization. They owe it to KD. They owe it to Steph, Clay, and Dre because all 3 of those players are in the Warriors' future. KD is not. So they owe it to them to invest in them moving forward, even if it's during the NBA Finals. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. As far as the Lakers are concerned, the Lakers have been the worst organization in the NBA for 6 years, and that starts from the top down. And God bless his soul, Dr. Jerry Buss, but the Lakers look like the mom-and-pop shop that is in a town that is facing Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and they're still out here trying to sell you milk for $5 a gallon. Like, oh, but it's our milk. And we've been here a long time, and we used to be the best. Nah, bro, I'm going to Trader Joe's. I'm going to get that $2.99. I'm going to get that free coffee. I'm going to get them free samples. I'm going to get them shortbread cookies that, like, are the greatest cookies of all time, and I'm going to flourish. And they look outdated. And their organization, I think the stories that you're reading out of L.A. more than anything else is They try to hire Rob Pelinka to be Bob Myers 2.0, which is from where the greatest organization I've seen in a long time, the Warriors. But what did the Warriors do for Bob Myers? They flanked him with the best people possible. They hired Rod Adams, one of the best defensive assistant coaches in the league. They hired Alvin Gentry, one of the best offensive coaches in the league. They got Jerry West, one of the best basketball brains this league has ever seen. They got Steve Nash to just come and hang out in the facility, okay? They have continually hired at the highest level, and now you're seeing their assistants being posted to other organizations. Look what Travis Schlenk's doing with the Atlanta Hawks as an example. You don't see anybody getting hired from the Lakers. I ain't seen this. Don't nobody like Carl Randall. Carl Randall got brought back on the charity case, okay? So their organization is rightly being pointed out as dysfunctional, and I think LeBron James is while he's not having regrets, I think you're going to see a situation where you're going to see that team, I think, become very. I'm intrigued. This is what I actually believe, and this will be my last thing. I think you're going to see that in spite of all of this,
Eddie, you there?
Eddie?
It's going to fail forward because they can still trade for Anthony Davis.
Oh, you're breaking up, Eddie. You dropping jewels, but we can't hear you. Did we lose Eddie? Eddie, are you there? Put Eddie on hold.
Yeah, we'll bring Eddie back later.
Yeah.
But we definitely appreciate him for joining
man, he
us.
was dropping some jewels right there. What do you want to say?
Always great stuff with Eddie Maisonet. We definitely appreciate it, and we look forward to perhaps around free agency to bring Eddie back. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump into some Up for Grabs. The Ian Davis Show.
What's up, everybody? It's Cameron Smith from CBS 2 Chicago. You're listening to the D and Davis Show.
D and Davis Show. Hey, it is time to go up for grabs. We're one Mr. Ryan Bukovetsky. Ryan, what you got for us?
Let's start with some NBA talk. The NBA Finals are all set, and for the first time in its franchise history, the Toronto Raptors will go against the Golden State Warriors for the championship.
Although the Raptors were just 2 games behind the Milwaukee Bucks in the regular season, they're off the bench to celebrate.
So what does Toronto need to happen to pull off the upset?
One, KD stays out of it. And also, I think it's going to be defensively if they can do some of the things that Houston did last year with Steph. It's how you crowd the ball, and it sounds easier than done because some people can't pull it off. And I guess last year, but I guess this would be going against me. Last year, KD was there, and it wasn't this free-forming form as much, but still, and we've talked about it in the past, there have been times where the slowed pace of the playoffs or the finals and the intensity of half-court defenses have kind of thrown Steph off. Like, if we're being honest, and we talked to Eddie Maisonet about it, if we're being honest, that first, I'm with Eddie on saying that Steph should have gotten the MVP. And I kind of thought Steph should have gotten it last year. I swear, if you go back and watch, when they announced MVP, Steph is shook. He's shook for 3 minutes. And then he kind of gets it together. He was going to get it. Yeah, his face looks like, what? Right? Like, what? Because, I mean, KD had that one game. Not to say KD didn't have a good series, but he went off that one game. But for me, being a Steph fan and kind of the tradition of the NBA, he has put in his time. He's a former MVP. And he had his best playoff series, I feel like, outside of what he's done this season.
He went like 27, 8, and 9, or it was something crazy stat line.
It was crazy. And we're talking about a point guard.
Yeah.
All right. So
he got off that series.
But so I this is the thing. He's going to get his, but if you can get Steph to kind of be subpar Steph for out of the 7 games, let's just say if this goes 6 for at least 3 of them, maybe 2, and he just has a good half, because that's going to happen. He's going to have halves probably. There's a chance. I think if I had to put my money on it, I would go GSW. But there's definitely a chance without KD that Toronto can beat them. It's a chance.
I will say, what's the initial? Say the question one more time.
What needs to happen for Toronto to pull off the upset?
Jesus needs to come back and say with a Raptors jersey on outside in Jurassic Park. It ain't happening. I don't see it.
Will Drake let him in?
Possibly.
Drake won't. OVO Al will be there to stop him.
Just rubbing Jesus' shoulders. Oh, we got this one. Listen, man, I don't think they have a chance. I think with just so much of what Golden State has, you have Kawhi, and Kawhi, listen, I like to call him Stone Face Killer. He's there, and we talked about it before, he got these guys on his back, and they rolling. I understand that. You are going up against The OG Warriors, as I said before, won a championship before KD got there and won 73 games. And they lost to probably one of the greatest players, possibly top 3 players of all time, LeBron James, off of one shot from Kyrie Irving in Game 7. The Raptors ain't that. I'm sorry, but the Raptors is not that. You have Kawhi, but the other pieces around him, I don't think is enough to be able to keep up with him. And as I said before with Milwaukee, my biggest concern with Milwaukee was you haven't shown me, you don't have the track record to say, oh man, you're down by 17, I can come back. Oh, we're going to turn up this defense on you, you're not going to score again. Oh, we're going to step on your throat in the third quarter. They never showed that going up against Toronto. But on the flip side too, with Toronto going up against Golden State, I just don't think they have enough firework. They don't have enough power. Golden State checks all those marks, even without KD. I would say Toronto probably get 2 games. You don't have your microphone.
2, that's a decent series. I don't think it's gonna be this crucible that you're predicting it to be.
I don't see it.
I mean, because
Toronto might get game 1 because it's in Toronto.
But we're still, I don't know. I think it's going to be more to this series than that, and I hope it is just for the entertainment value.
I would say this. If Toronto wins, which anything can happen, if Toronto wins, it will probably be the biggest shock of an NBA Finals since the Pistons LA, and that was in 2004. I didn't see
what
the
about Mavericks Heat?
Yeah.
No, because I think with that Miami Heat team, you even saw the struggles when they first got together and they was trying to figure out, okay, who team is it? And Dwayne Wade was still kind of feeling that. And eventually he was kind of like, okay, LeBron James. And then LeBron James was coming off an NBA Finals where he didn't have a good Finals before, because I think that was the year he went Cleveland to the Finals and he went straight to Miami, right?
No.
He didn't go Cleveland in the Finals.
No, he did not.
Oh, how far of a gap
It was a 4-year gap.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was pretty young. That was pretty young.
Yeah.
But with that Heat team, it was still, I mean, they were great and they was the Heatos and all that, but it just didn't seem right. So that wasn't the biggest shock to me.
But let's be real too. We didn't expect for LeBron to crap in the fourth quarter like we saw during that 11 NBA Finals against Dallas, because
we didn't think LeBron James was clutch yet.
The pressure was put on him, Wade and Bosh. Wade and Bosh did their thing, but we didn't expect LeBron to disappear in the fourth quarter of those games.
But a lot of people didn't expect LeBron James to. People always thought like, man, he can't take the free throws because he's gonna miss them. His defense, still not there. He was a great player, but he wasn't
His
LeBron
defense was
James
there at that time. When he got to Miami.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He got to Miami. Because as he shut down Derrick Rose, that's when people was like, that last 3, about that 3, up from 3 years before, his defense had been there. Before he left Cleveland, he had become one of the better defenders. But real quick,
go ahead.
I don't think you can say this is the biggest upset because KD's not there.
I say for me.
Okay, but KD's not there. So
I don't think they have a chance even with.
I don't think they would have a chance without KD, but
how about this? They don't have a chance at all.
I think they do. I think they have a chance.
Okay. I can't listen. I could be wrong.
Tell me what defense they've played like this coming through this playoffs.
The biggest threat would have been Houston, but they just dismantled Houston. Houston had the same defensive team as he was the year before.
They weren't. So I think this is the better defense. And compared to Houston, and Houston can bomb threes, they can bomb threes too. I think sometimes they're more efficient, and they do this, but they don't fall into we have to take the 3 all the time.
True.
And to me, the biggest problem teams face in GSW is they want to shoot tray for tray, and it's like no,
they can't do it.
GSW will go cold,
and they lull you into it though. But they lull you into it.
Consistently take the easy shot and add numbers. People fall for it all. You can't shoot like them. You have to take threes. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
But you have to take that layup that people want to throw back out sometime, that easy bunny, you have to take those sometimes. When a guy beats his guy off the dribble and he gets into the lane, and instead of looking for whoever's rotating off the perimeter shooter, you just have to take that layup sometimes when you're facing a team like that and still make your three-point shots.
But what's so great about GSW, you just said they can't, everybody, they lull people into shooting threes. It was crazy. They take the threes and the twos. They get into the lane and they take the threes.
They don't take as many twos without KD, though.
But Steph can get to the lane. I see Clay can hit it.
I'm just saying, since KD.
Oh, yeah, he'll pull up. He's 7 feet tall. Yeah, it's such an easy shot for him. But what's so great about them, they can do that as well. You can have a Sean Livingston come off the bench. Hey,
Sean Livingston ain't Sean Livingston.
No, he's not. No. But what I'm trying to say is that bench, Steve Kerr's finally he's finally trying to play them, and he can insert them. A lot of things with KD, man, he made them unbeatable, but at the same time, he depressed everybody else's role.
That's what superstars do.
That's what they do.
When they come to a team like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So with this, though, without him, they're able to kind of go back into what they was doing before. But GSW does everything. But here's a question real quick before we go to the next one. What has Toronto faced a more defensive team, a better defensive team than Golden State? Because Golden State is a great defensive team.
It was last series.
You think Milwaukee?
Milwaukee had the best defense in the NBA this year.
But every time, it didn't show in that series, though. It didn't show in that series.
But the problem was they couldn't keep scoring because they stifled Giannis. That's the real problem. We've seen that we talked about it. Giannis needs a counter. I said last week,
he needs a better player.
He needs a baby hook. He needs a baby hook and a counter. And he said it. I talked about it weeks ago as far as James Harden redeveloping his floater when he found out that was his biggest problem with GSW, because that was his worst shot, was his floater. I think he was like 40%, if not higher, this year on floaters. And just like Eddie Maisonet said, he needs to get a floater in the lane. So we can't necessarily say that their defense didn't work. They couldn't keep up scoring with a team that it wasn't like a juggernaut in scoring, but they couldn't. When it came to attrition, they couldn't score enough points.
I think Toronto has a chance, but these three things must happen. One, Kyle Lowry, even though the monkey off his back is off for now, I want to see him go at Steph during these finals. We all know that Steph Curry is not a great defensive player. Neither is Lowry, but Lowry has more in his arsenal to help out Kawhi Leonard as far as Toronto offensively. Number two, how will Danny Green be used in this series? Because he has finals experience along with...
Will Danny Green show up?
Yeah, no matter how he's using, can he knock the shot down?
Exactly.
He needs to knock shots down. And number three, can Serge Ibaka bring that energy off the bench like he did in that Milwaukee series? If those three things happen, they have a chance to upset the Warriors.
Look, I'm not saying it's going to show in a box score. Serge Ibaka is going to try to play his African ass off. And Marc Gasol, too. I mean, Serge has been here when he was a kid with OKC. Marc Gasol's never been here. This is a one-shot chance with this team because this team will not be the same team next season, and they all know it. All right?
Yeah,
they all know it.
And maybe DeMarcus Cousins might come back and try to see how they implement that right.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna help nothing.
Just really quick, I think you guys have really kind of put it perfectly. I think the three big things: they are a good defensive team that has to be their calling card each game. They can't have any type of game where they slip off defensively.
None.
Otherwise, Golden State's going to win. The other thing, like you said, Ken, pace. I think pace is everything for Toronto. If they can hold pace, they've got a shot because they can control offense and defense. But what we talked about, what you just said, when people see that scoreboard, especially in the third quarter, and see they have a nice little lead, they might suddenly let's try to hold off some energy. You got to keep attacking.
You do?
Summer's coming right around the way.
Right.
Run and get everything out of your tank. Summer's going to be here.
And as you point out, get some easy buckets because they're going to go through lulls scoring. And Golden State is not going to have that issue.
Luckily, Raptors have home court advantage. Let's see if they keep it.
Moving over now to baseball. Both the Cubs and Sox had a pretty horrible week last week.
High drive out into right center. Tracking it is Hayward. He and Bryant collide. Ball gets down. Chris is still down. And a run will score. And let's hope Chris Bryant is okay.
Both teams split their early week 4-game series for the Cubs against the Phillies and the Astros for the White Sox. And over the weekend, it didn't get better as the Cubs struggled against the Reds, losing 2 out of 3, and the Sox got swept in a not close series versus the Twins.
Yeah.
What was the worst part of Chicago baseball last week to you?
Well, does it count as last week? But I would say Chris Bryant getting hurt.
Collision in the outfield.
After him coming on, seeming like, Chris Bryant is here. The last thing you want to see right away is him get dinged up. Like, you don't want to see
and kind of around the same time when he got hit in the head.
Yeah, so you don't want to see. And the last thing you want is some Sidney Crosby-esque, just the last thing you want is that's
concussions.
It's worse.
Nothing came out about the concussion stuff.
Yeah, it's how you felt in a way when KD pulled up and you were like, oh no. Like, for being a Chicagoan, I'm a Sox fan, but still, the last thing you want to see is a player that has so much future ahead of him, and since Chris Bryant has something as serious that doesn't, and the problem with concussion, since we can't see it, we don't know, and we don't think it's as serious as what it really could be or whatever, but I would say for me, probably, because I mean the Sox, I'm not expecting the Sox to go crazy.
Yep.
So it would probably be the. I do not like the fact they lost to the Twins, and that's your measuring stick. And that, for me as a Sox fan, that's our divisional rival. So when my Sox fandom was growing, the Twins and their farm system were just kicking our asses all across the street.
Every year.
Yeah, it was like, what are they doing in that farm? They keep sending the kids up, and everybody played the Twins way or whatever. But it's Chris Bryant getting hurt.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. That was going to be mine. Chris Bryant getting hurt. You definitely you don't want to see that if you're a Cubs fan. You don't want to see that if you're the Cubs.
You're not a baseball fan. You don't want to see.
You don't want to see that, especially who's this agent again? Scott Boras.
Mm-hmm.
So man, you don't want to go into the offseason with these kind of like, man, can you stay healthy? Now you're gonna get the money. He's gonna get the money because the talent is there, regardless, right? MVP, Rookie of the Year, World Series, got the last out of the World Series.
Even if you have to play in Anaheim or something, he's gonna get the money.
Yeah, he's gonna get the bread, but you don't want to see that, especially if you're him going into the offseason or going to a free agency when he hits it. And as far as the Cubs, man, listen, I think they're in a good spot right now. They have their lows. They have, the starting pitchers has been a little bit better, but that's kind of coming back. You still have your bullpen issues. Schwarber is not the guy who you thought it was going to be. Ben Zobrist, I'm hearing, might retire. There's a 50-50 chance he might retire. He won't come back.
Stay out that man's business, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's nobody's business, but you know what?
Stay out that man's business.
But it's the thing, though. If it's affecting him not being able to play, and you talking about retiring, then it is going to be kind of their business. Because then it's kind of like, okay, do we?
I get that point. I'm not arguing that,
yeah.
but just people, listen, if coming back to baseball, and I know him and his wife have both filed divorce in separate courts.
He's 36 or 37. 36
might be
years old?
38.
Yeah,
damn, really? Okay. All right.
If this is his one chance to do whatever he feels like is good for him and or his marriage, let that man do. Like, last thing you would want for someone to be like, it was a chance. And I'm just saying, if rekindling the relationship is what he both of them desire, like, man, I could have had her back, but I had to go do this baseball. And I mean, of course, you get paid from a baseball team or whatever, but that's his wife, that's his family. I need to know no parts of that business.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, for real. I mean, I know we all like salacious stuff, before I swear, but I don't let that man do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
By the way, 38.
38 years old.
May 26th.
All right, so there you go. I mean, you're starting to hit now. I mean, you're almost 40 years old playing baseball. I mean, you don't got to do it.
Ben Zobrist, man, he lasts for life.
I mean, he got back-to-back championships with the Royals and the Cubs. Mm-hmm. Got money.
Got a deal that you knew he wasn't going. Well, you didn't expect for him to still be as valuable as he is right now.
Yeah. Leadoff position is still an issue for them, and he's been great for them since he's been a Cub. So, I mean, you have your issues as far as with the franchise with the Cubs, and then you see Chris Bryant out in the outfield. God knows why, but he's just a baller, and he just wants to play everywhere. It doesn't matter to him, and he gets hurt. And man, that's not what you want to see.
I agree with you guys. The worst part of the baseball weekend locally was the Cubs losing the series to the Reds, letting my guy Yasiel Puig go off on them, him hitting a couple home runs in that series. But I think the biggest thing was that Cubs bullpen, because it's been a problem for them all season. And now with Brendan Morrow maybe not coming back this year, who's going to step up to solidify a consistent spot in that bullpen? Carl Edwards Jr., he hasn't been there all year. He was sent down to the minor leagues earlier this season. And some of the other guys who stepped in hasn't done the job either. Is Craig Kimbrell the answer? I doubt it. So you can't wait until July 31st. Who's going to step up now? Mike Montgomery, who's now injured. Who else are you going to get?
Looking at last week's Chicago baseball, I'm going to go a little bit different, even though I think you guys bring up totally valid. Chris Bryant, probably the biggest story. I'm going to go White Sox a little bit, and just as personally.
No.
No. This is the opposite.
Oh, look at what you guys are doing over there as you try hard.
Just rub it in. Why don't
Where's
you?
that mic button? But I'm a closet White Sox fan, whether you believe it or not.
We believe it and we don't need it.
When I started, We Are Rico Radio. I was writing for the White Sox.
You were.
Oh, that's what grunts have to do. Have to work your way up to your favorite team.
Grunts can like their work, though, and like their teams. Anyways, I do like the White Sox. And I was actually really excited to see this weekend series against the Twins, just see that measuring stick and just see them just blast it out. I expected the pitching to struggle for the White Sox, but I didn't think that they would just get shut out.
That's one of the worst parts of the team. It's the starting pitching.
Oh, yeah,
It
without a
stinks.
doubt. But I thought Eloy, Moncada, all these other kids going on this road trip against the Twins, thought maybe they would at least come up with some good amount of runs and keep some games competitive. Fortunately, it did not happen.
The best team in MLB.
But see, I didn't know if that was the real team going into that weekend. Or the Twins, the best team in Major League Baseball.
We'll put it like this. Let's not think about them top to bottom as being the most talented, but perhaps being the hottest.
Hottest right now, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely have talent and young talent, kind of like the White Sox, kind of like the Cubs, where it's in that in-between stage where you don't know fully. So I wanted to see what the White Sox were made of, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad weekend because it's all about what they do in the future. But
It's May 28th. They have a 10-game lead in the division.
yeah, that's over.
It might, yeah. I ain't want to say that, but it's probably over.
Unless the Twins go 180.
Complete collapse, and then that's
a
at Cleveland. That's at
mid-collapse.
Cleveland, kind of like
that's
getting.
what-
That's the whole thing. Cleveland kind of
You
get
gotta
this
remember,
up together.
this is baseball.
Yeah.
We got to get to summertime.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be like, wait, remember that team was hot at the beginning of the year?
Right. There's always that
And look at what
equalizing.
the A's did at the back of the end of last year.
Yeah, they just got extremely hot.
Look,
They
the
got hot at the
Mariners-
right time,
Tampa
though.
Bay too.
The Mariners were hitting the ball out of the ballpark every game to start out the season, and now they're one of the worst teams in baseball.
Yeah.
So we have to see.
Moving over now to football, the NFLPA sent out an email to NFL free agents, to agents on the NFL to prepare for a lockout that could last a year at the end of the 2020 NFL season.
The NFL Players Association is warning about a potential lockout. This according to Sports Business Journal's Liz Mullen. The Players Association sent an email to all NFL agents telling them to prepare their players for a lockout that could last a year or more. The 2011 collective bargaining agreement expires after the 2020 season. Matt Uris, KDKA News.
Per ESPN.com's Dan Graziano, changes the NFLPA would like to see made in the CBA include an increased share of league revenue from the current 47% rate, obtaining greater guarantees and contracts, and decreasing free agent limitations, i.e. the franchise tag and 5th-year rookie options. In your opinion, is a potential lockout the best way for players to make progress in these areas?
For sure.
Yeah, it is. But the whole thing is they have a crab in a barrel mentality, though. I don't know what's up with football.
I don't know why you think they have a crab in the barrel.
This is the reason why, because I think with football, because you don't know when you don't know if you're going to be able to play the next game, and it's not guaranteed contracts. When you don't have that guarantee, what do? You're looking out for self, and that's kind of a natural thing. So I can't really depend on my union mate. I'll go to bat for him when I know we can win, but until.
Like,
but it's not like the NFL, and also too, you have a high, what's the word I'm looking for? A high potential of scabs going out there playing football, in my opinion, than you have in any other sport.
I don't know. And see, this is the thing. I don't know, and I made that joke on our text line. I don't know if the NFL would put out that product. They would be hesitant to put out the product they did back in '86. Because also you got to think, these sponsors are not going to be like, oh yeah, that's good. Like, I didn't pay for Joe Schmo to be out here.
But you have
Mark Wahlberg the fifth.
I mean, but you're banking on the fact that the owners will bend to the sponsors that much.
I'm talking
that
about the TV revenue, the TV contracts.
I'm saying though, even to sponsorship and to television.
Yeah.
We have to see if the owners bend that much to then say, you know what, we're going to get rid of the get rid of a year on the franchise tag, or we're going to give you guaranteed contracts. That's not in their best interest.
No, I'm talking about the scab part. That's what I'm saying.
I think that goes along too. I think they'll put out scabs before they do that.
I don't know. I don't even know if you can get for compared to what was going on in the 80s and how we view football nowadays. And yes, you have the XFL coming back and the AFL folding. I don't know if they will put out that low quality of a product in the NFL today, just as far as scabs. And this is the point to the thing you were saying before. We've a lot of Tuesdays, we've had the pleasure of talking to former Bear Tom Thayer.
Yes.
And one of the questions that I asked him was about, what was your motivation for striking? Was it for the future? And he was like, no, it was about me. No, most of the time that we have anything, the players are striking to get better things for them. Yeah, it's good that people coming up behind us can benefit from it.
True.
But I don't think it's a negative connotation of crab is in a barrel. I think it has a lot more to do with the limited shelf life of a football player. Where in basketball,
that was my point. That was part of my point. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A healthy basketball player has 16 to 17 years of his career.
But they also have guaranteed contracts.
True, and I'm not taking away from that. But again, if a basketball player only got 60% of his contract, if he was cut, but still knew there's a chance that they could strike and they would get some type of benefit of it, I think that it's easier for them to make that decision knowing that I have X amount of years left, where a football player can be like, I was on the cusp of getting cut right now.
Yeah.
And so thinking about a year away how I could play. So I don't think it's fighting each other as much in football. And I'm saying this, I think that happens in every sport, a battle between players within the union. Now, I'm just saying.
Let's be real. It can't happen in life in general, too.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. But I think it has a lot more to do with, and that's why football is set up like that. The shelf life of outside of a quarterback is basically
3 years or 4 years.
For a football player, it's 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years.
But I don't even think outside of running backs that's true anymore. I think probably every position out of running back is probably up to like 4 to 5 usually. Okay. But quarterbacks, I'm sure if we watch quarterbacks, it has to be a decade damn near, if not 8 years.
Yeah, quarterbacks is a different breed.
Especially when we're just talking about backups who are just taking up space on average. But I don't think it's the negative connotation that they're fighting each other to get to the money. I just think it's, dude, I only got so much time, and these kids are coming up right here behind us.
Well, what about the guys? What happened with Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh?
What about him?
How the offensive line, how the team itself, they kind of just turned on him. I mean, his brother's out there trying to get his contract and get his money, and they straight up went into that man's pockets. They turned on him.
Yeah, but first of all, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think it's different when you're talking about players are getting amped up and thinking, we can win a Super Bowl this year, and when one of your biggest factors from that, who may have made promises that he would be there at a certain date, doesn't show up, and damn, we went from having Hall of Famers at 3 big-time positions to 2, that you're going to be somewhat upset. Now, I would have been like Antonio Brown and kept my mouth quiet because you don't talk about another man's money. But I can still understand, and then again, you say offensive line. Remember, the offensive line is a unit to itself. Like, that's a different breed of cat when you're talking about the offensive line sometimes. And they're gonna follow the quarterback for the most part. If they respect the quarterback, and they're in line step with
a quarterback with an owner's mentality too.
Yeah, so I mean, Pittsburgh is the points you just made. Let's not forget what the general manager came out and said, that Ben's the only adult. Pittsburgh's a different type of animal.
I want to piggyback off Ken's point about the NFL and potentially hiring scabs. Remember back in 87, the NFL wasn't as popular as it is now, even though that the scabs only lasted 3 games. It took a while for the NFL to recover because people didn't like that. Of course, it wasn't as much sponsorship as you have now. Look at the NFL now. You have a popularity that's number one amongst many people. Some people think that the NBA is right at them, and some people think that the NBA has passed them. I don't agree with that.
Globally
it has, but say in the United States,
nationally,
but nationally, I think it's right at the NFL. They're right neck and neck, but they're not. The NBA is not past the NFL. So, but if you're the NFL, you cannot afford to have any lockout right now. Everything's going well financially. Yes, they're taking a few PR hits, going back to Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, and the Spygate and all that foolishness. But if you're the NFL, you just need to tighten up your business. And hiring scabs, it's going to set you back. It's going to take you even longer to recover.
I'm taking Joe Smo first in my fantasy league.
Let me ask y'all this.
Right, and that's going to be a bad look for business.
Let me ask y'all this. Do you think we've talked to callers down here, 670 Score. We've done overnight for Les Grobstein. And also, too, we talked to callers and talked to fans in general. Do you think the fans will back the players if they do strike?
No.
Because okay, so here's my point though. So if you don't have the fans backing you to push you to get something better for yourself in your union, you have the owners who is not in their business interest to give you anything. We don't know if the sponsors have enough sway or television rights have enough sway to sway those other 2 parties. What are they going to do?
Question. When have the fans ever backed the players when they went on strike?
Never.
So what's the point? What's the difference?
But what I'm trying to say is,
players are always the first person because they're visual that people see. They
Right.
don't. They so
And fans have an owner mentality themselves.
If you're worried about there's never been a
Fantasy
situation
leagues.
where fans are like, "We're behind you, players." Fans are mad that their toy is being taken away. So that's the same with any strike.
So, the best thing the NFL players could do is strike. And they need to send a message. That's the best thing they can do. The question is, can they stick together? They need to strike.
I got a question for you guys with this scab argument. Do you see maybe a possibility, like look at Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. Let's say the NFL went into a lockout. Does that open the possibility for college stars to drop out of college and come to the NFL and maybe supplant some star stats?
No, that's messing up the college product.
You're not going
product.
Did you know what colleges would do if you came and messed with their money like that? No, they'd be like, man, look, they got to be here for 4 years automatically. Like, now it wouldn't work because nothing's more powerful than the NFL in that system. But they wouldn't cut off their own nose to spite their face with the free development they get with college football.
Do you think it'll rise? It will push up the popularity of college football.
Yeah, of course it would. It would make people would go because they need
the fix, right? They need the fix.
So it would be a boon for college football. Actually,
that's what I'm thinking.
I love college football, but that is not enough.
I'm with you. I don't like seeing broken plays.
No, that is an appetizer to the real football played on Sunday to me.
Exactly. Good point.
In some of those networks, just like you said, the NFL will go on a prolonged strike or a lockout, whatever. I don't think that some of those networks like CBS and ESPN with those big time Saturday night games, they'll move them over to Sunday night or Monday night.
What, college football?
Yeah. Like your Alabamas and Notre Dames, they ain't playing on Saturdays. They'll be playing on Sundays and Monday nights.
Do those kids like that,
right?
Because you said Saturday, but they at least had a day to get back and ready for class, and now you got them playing on Sunday.
I thought you care about academics.
Exactly.
They make them do anything anyway.
All right, definitely was a good Up for Grabs. Please continue to enjoy Up for Grabs as Ryan is doing a great job executive producing us and also giving us great questions. Right now, we're going to go to Matt Snyder and talk a little bit about the MLB and what's going on with the Cubs and the Sox. And D and Davis Show.
Yo, what's up? This is Rashid Hadi, and you're listening to the D and Davis Show. Yeah.
D and Davis recording from 6-7 to score. And right now on the line, MLB writer for CBS Sports, friend of the show. We have Matt Snyder. How you doing, Matt?
I'm great. Just settling in for a full night of baseball. All night games, so a lot to pay attention to all at once.
Yeah, it's beginning to be the best part of the year when everything else is kind of trending down and baseball is the main course.
Yep.
So look, let me ask you something. I was all on your timeline today. And you had an interesting tweet that if Schwarber and Armour both keep settling in, the Cubs will go from a 2-5 gauntlet to a 1-6. What's the probability of that taking place?
I mean, first off, they need everybody healthy.
Yeah.
Like Javi's heel is still bothering him. Bryant had the collision. So since I tweeted that kind of fell on its face a little bit. But, I mean, I don't think there's any question that Contreras, Rizzo, Baez, and Bryant are going to be studs all year. They all have just, in different ways, locked into the best versions of themselves. They're all at prime ages still. So I think that four-headed monster is going to remain. Almora, he's trending really good, and there's a chance it keeps up because for years the problem with him is he pounds the ball into the ground. And he's not near as fast as he seems because he's a center fielder and he gets to a lot of balls in the outfield, so people just assume he's fast. He's not that fast. So him pounding the ball into the ground is just leading to a lot of ground outs and double plays. Now he's lifting. And with the 7 home runs already, I mean, I believe that's a career high. Let me see. Yeah, that's a career. No. He's one off his career high of 8. But that's in only 154 at-bats. This season he had 80 at 299. I think that it's going to continue to be good, but I don't think he's going to be good enough to definitely make my gauntlet comment come to fruition. Schwarber on base percentage trending up, started to hit home runs again, very encouraging. I think he's going to settle into what he was probably for most of last year, which he hit 26 home runs, low average but good on base percentage, 27 homers, 467 slug. I think that's where you can probably expect him to end up. So not quite a gauntlet. Definitely the 4 guys will be, and then those next 2 give them a strong 1 through 6.
Matt, real quick on Schwarber, Are we looking at the fact of this is just what he is, or do you think that there can still be improved? This guy's never going to be hitting for average like he did when he first came up.
No, he's not going to, I don't think. I mean, it's 385 games. He's 26 years old. Mm-hmm. At some point, you are what you are. Now, there are guys who have outlier career years, so maybe one year he hits 40 bombs and on a 275 average or something. But this is pretty much, I think, what he's going to be. You're going to see him. He's trending upward this season at 221 right now. So maybe you see him at 240 to 250 range with a good on-base percentage and 20 to 25 home runs. Yeah, I think that's what he is. Not a star, but a good hitter who should be playing pretty much every day.
With the Cubs during the season, everything that we hear is, of course, they need to do something with the bullpen. But of late, the starters haven't been going deep. Now, is it just baseball, or is there a concern with the fact that they're not going as deep as they were maybe a few weeks ago?
I think there's been a lot of circumstances. Like, I feel like the last 2 weeks or so, maybe starting with that Marlins series, it felt like they were just getting such terrible luck on balls in play. Like, you keep seeing ground balls finding a hole or bloopers finding their way into spots in the outfield. Some of it, I think they could do a little bit better on scouting and or shifting in the infield, but some of it's just baseball, and that's luck. Like you said, it's just that's baseball. Darvish's command is back. That's huge now that he's not throwing the ball all over the place and actually throwing strikes. Hamels, at his age, you're going to get stuff like yesterday against good teams. Lester goes through these spats. What we saw last year, he was awful for like 2 or 3 starts, but then he settled back in down the stretch. Hendricks is fine. I think Quintana just had it kind of get away from him last start. So we might see some more stinkers from Hamels and Lester. The other 3, I think Darvish is. If his command's fine, he's fine in this rotation to be like the number 4. If you're assuming Hamels might be the worst starter going forward, overall, I think they're probably going to be all right. They do need to deepen the bullpen, though.
D and Davis show on the line with us right now. We have Matt Snyder from CBS. Make sure you follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Snyder CBS. So is it as easy, if you're a Cubs fan, to say to the Cubs brass, hey, listen, Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrel out there. Go out there and sign them.
It's pretty easy to throw around money that we don't have, and it seems like
it's the best way to do it, man.
Really clamps down on the spending. I think they should find a way. Even I don't care how creatively they need to get to sign Kimbrel, and it's probably going to be after the draft, so there's no draft compensation attached. Mm-hmm. That's when people are going to start talking to him. I don't think it's necessarily a concern of the Cubs, but again, if you're on Kimbrel's side, you want as many suitors as possible to drive the price up. Hopefully he doesn't want something that ridiculous from the Cubs' perspective, because if you say, look right now, Strop will be back soon, then you sign Kimbrel, maybe make a trade with what they have for somebody like Will Smith or Ken Giles, all of a sudden what looked like the bad part of the ball club becomes one of its strengths. So, and you never know about Brandon Morrow either if he comes back down the stretch. But if you look, just having Strop in the 7th, someone like Will Smith in the 8th who's having an unbelievable year, and then Craig Kimbrel in the 9th, now all of a sudden you're feeling a lot better with these 1-run leads.
How concerned should the Cubs be when it comes to Chris Bryant?
I don't know. They're not really saying that much.
Yeah,
but it feels like last year him getting hit in the head against the Rockies was kind of the start of a lot of bad things for him. So they said he wasn't in concussion protocol. So as long as it's not his head, I don't think that there's much reason for concern. I think he's going to come back and be exactly what he's been to this point, which has looked like after like 2 or 3 weeks, he looked like the 2016 version.
Yeah, he looked good.
Real quick on Chris Bryant, after him getting hurt that the first thing that's going to pop up is why he was out there in the first place. Is it much to do about?
I thought it.
Yeah, it just seems like much to do about nothing, that people are still complaining about Joe moving all the players around.
That's what he does, though, right?
And he's gotten success.
It just feels like he's a superstar. And how many other superstar third basemen do you see out in left field and right field regularly? Like, picture the Rockies putting Arenado out there.
Yeah.
Picture the Padres putting Manny Machado out there. It just doesn't seem right to be moving a superstar around. So, and I know there's circumstances behind everything, and I know he's versatile and he doesn't care doing it, but it just seems like somebody like David Bodie should be the one who's thrown out there and not Bryant, in my opinion.
Great point.
Yeah, you know what? I was just thinking about it. You said that, Chris Bryant really doesn't care, but he is a superstar. You want your leader or your team to come up and to stand up for it, like really himself, and say, "Hey, no, listen, I'm a third baseman." And why isn't it coming from the top, from the front office? Like, dude, stop this. We have a generational player out here, and you're still kind of placing him anywhere just to play baseball.
And maybe it will now after that collision. I mean, collisions can happen with anybody, but it's when you have Hayward in center, which, let's be honest, was out of position, and Bryant in right field, which is definitely out of position, it just makes you think, would that miscommunication have really happened if it was Hayward in right and Almora in center? I don't think so. And then that ball would have gotten caught, too. Then nobody gets hurt, and an extra few runs don't score.
Dean Davis on the line right now. We have Matt Snyder from CBS Sports. Matt, we have to go to the South Side.
All right.
Yeah, we got to.
Oh, it's not that bad.
But still, it's not the way we want to. Listen, at the beginning of the year, and I won't even say the beginning of the year, probably up to 3 weeks ago, anytime our producer probably mentioned Lucas Giolito, I was probably like, get your ass out of here. And, I mean, because it's like his matinee looks, you're looking at the Adam Eaton trade, and you want success, and we look at the fact that they tried to change his pitching when he was with the Nationals, and now with the Sox telling him to go back to high school. Can we expect for this to kind of be this guy moving forward? I know he'll have hiccups. Has he kind of gotten over the hump, or are we still kind of waiting for sure to see if Giolito has gotten over the hump?
Well, I think we can. It looks like he's made the proper adjustments. This was a guy that was a top 5 draft pick. And he was always looked at as one of the top pitching prospects in baseball straight out of high school. So it shows he has the raw stuff. He's going out there 59 strikeouts in 52 innings. He looks exceptional. All the peripherals support this that say it's not fluky at all. So I think he has it figured out at present. I do. And I think you can look forward to him being an all-star at some point, if not this year. He only 9 starts, but 6-1 with a 2.77 ERA. He's in position to be talked about for an all-star spot. And it just makes you a little bit more frustrated, though, because when I look at the White Sox and you think, man, with Rodon, and if Kopech didn't have to have Tommy John surgery, there's a chance they have 3 guys talented enough to form a big 3 in the rotation for years to come, but it just hasn't. The other 2 are hurt right now and are going to be out for a while. And it also makes me frustrated at the front office because they gave a half-hearted effort to go after Manny Machado. We didn't hear their name connected to Keuchel or Kimbrel at all. This was a team that looked like they had some young guys on the precipice. Moncada, Jimenez, Tim Anderson were ready to start turning things around. You look right now, they won today, so now they're only 5 games under 500 in a weak division. Now the Twins are running away with it, but it just feels like they're not that far away from contention if the front office would have actually been aggressive in the offseason instead of just half-hearting going after Manny Machado. And so it is frustrating because it feels like they should have done more to improve the big league roster, and then you get frustrated with the Rodon and Kopech injuries too. So I feel any White Sox fans' pain right now because they're not that far away. Look, they're going to play the Royals and Tigers a lot this year. They're better than both of those teams, so that they should have a lot of wins sitting right there. And I just feel like you're going to be like, man, we're like 9 games out of the wild card. What if we were 3 out, you know?
Matt, just as infuriated as friends are with Joe Madden moving players around, you kind of got the same on the South Side with where Ricky is placing players in the order. Why is Tim Anderson batting 7th as much as he is at 2nd, and also moving James McCann around? What's the reason behind that, and is it right, I guess is the question.
I don't have a good one. A lot of times they look at platoon matchups like Dave Roberts in the playoffs just drives me nuts, sitting like Cody Bellinger, just because it's a lefty. Like, for the love of God, dude, play your studs. My guess is it's probably somewhat matchup-based. I don't love it. I know people say this is really old school. I'm kind of a mix of old school and new school, but I feel like baseball players are human beings. They're not robots. Knowing that you have a set spot in the order, I think helps. And you look at the Cubs last year down the stretch, the offense was broken. This year, they've basically settled into Bryant 3, Bryant 2, Rizzo 3, Baez 4, Wilson Contreras 5, and just leave those guys there. And I think it's helped all 4 of them kind of hit the top level. So I'd like to see the White Sox do something similar, and I think that came from above. Madden would still be moving him around, but I think Epstein said, all right, you're done screwing around with these guys. Leave them. I would like to see the White Sox do the same with guys like Moncada, Jimenez, and Anderson. Let them realize I am a number 2 hitter. I'm a number 3 hitter, and just leave them alone.
Yep.
The Sox have been waiting for the pipeline for a catcher to pop up. Can we expect that James McCann is the guy and they'll probably look to hold on to him, or is this just baseball and the guy's hot right now? But with the sample size, it just doesn't seem like it's going to last forever.
Coming into this year, he was a 240 hitter with 288 on base, and that's in 332 games. He's 29 years old. So my guess is this is a spot filler, and he's just hot right now. But you never know. Guys sometimes find another gear. Guys are late bloomers. Alex Gordon was a really late bloomer. It can happen, but my hunch is he's not going to be the long-term answer, no.
Matt, what would you deem to be a successful season for the White Sox?
I mean, right now, if they stayed around here, I think that would be a success. If let's see, if they won like high 70s in games, and the Giolito thing looks real, Tim Anderson looks real, maybe by the end of the year Jimenez looks real, Yoan Moncada's growing, that keeps that up. Those are wins. Like, a successful season is the young guys all coming around. Obviously, losing Rodon to injury hurts, but let's say by the end of the year, Kopech, you think there's a chance he can be in the rotation next year. Stuff like that. Just making sure the young guys are taking steps forward, and like I said, you're seeing it, and you'd like to see it in Reynaldo Lopez too. But it's a success if you have 4 or 5 young guys that look like these are legitimate players that are going to be our core the next time we contend.
And how real are the Twins? I mean, was it a fluke last year that they was just bad, or was it a fluke the year before that they was in the playoffs?
I don't think they're as good as their record says, but they've been beating up on a lot of bad teams. But that's the thing. There are a lot of bad teams they're going to continue to beat up on. You look at the American League East, the Orioles and Blue Jays are terrible. In the AL West, it looks like the Mariners are definitely terrible, and the Angels are pretty bad. I don't think the Rangers are going to continue to be good. The Tigers and Royals are brutal, and the White Sox aren't that good. So the Twins have a lot of games where they're better than the team they're playing. And then they do stuff like they took 3 or 4 from the Astros. Behind Berrios, they've actually gotten Odorizzi and Martin Perez to pitch like frontline starters. So that's 3. Kyle Gibson has been really good his last 7 starts. In the bullpen, they're doing a beautiful job of mixing and matching matchups. Then you look at the offense, and it's the most powerful team in the league with home runs. Their front office has figured something out with a lot of guys. I think they're legit. I think they're a top 5 team in baseball.
Dean Davis, right now on the line, we have Matt Snyder from MLB writer for CBS Sports. Matt, real quick, I'll get you out on this one. With the Twins, I had the Twins question to go along with D. If you look at from the long haul from where the Twins expect to be next season, and it starts to seem like before the season started, we didn't think the Sox were hitting on their prospects, but it seems like they're coming to fruition.
A few are, yeah.
If you rate both teams, I guess if unfortunately our pitchers are back from, I said ours. Yeah, I'm a Southsider. But our pitchers, the pitchers that are injured and have Tommy John, like in Kopech and Dunning and Rodon, these guys get back. What are the Sox chances to surpass the Twins in the next season or two?
I still think they need to supplement with a veteran, and I think the Padres should do this too. Throw somebody at the top there, even if he's not going to be the top. Like, I'll use the example of the Phillies signing Jake Arrieta to kind of be I've been through the postseason battles mentor for an Aaron Nola type. Garrett Cole is a free agent this offseason. You want to get excited. Think about those young guys you just named behind Garrett Cole in the rotation. And all of a sudden, man, now you've got the position players who look like they're coming along. You can start to see it coming together. But they've got to be aggressive, and they just haven't been in a long time. They have never been aggressive in free agency to the point that they're in on the top names. They need to start acting like big boys because they play in a big boy city.
That's right.
Matt, what kind of contract do you think Garrett Cole's going to get?
Gosh, with this market, it's hard telling.
Yeah.
Keuchel sat out.
Yep.
Who was the top starter last? It's still Cole, and he's in his prime. It might have to be lower in years with high average annual value, maybe 125. Darvish got 126. That does not look great at all. But I think Cole's a lot more of a sure thing. So I'll guess 5'1", 125. What's funny, a few years ago, David Price and Zach Greinke were getting over 200. He would have gotten that a few years ago, but the market has definitely changed.
Good for us. Sorry, Gary. Sorry.
Hey, Matt, thanks so much for hopping on with us, man. We love talking baseball with you. You got to get you on down the line.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too, man.
All right. That was Matt Snyder, MLB writer for CBS Sports. Make sure y'all follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Snyder CBS.
So I guess we still can't catch the Twins just yet. We got to wait. I'm happy he didn't
It's probably got to be a year or two.
But also these arms have to come back. Like, you can't have, like, all of them had Tommy Johns?
Well, how about this?
Like, how many times does everyone have Tommy Johns and everybody come back?
It's almost kind of like, just, all right, just go get Tommy John. Clean up a little bit and come back.
Yeah, but Rodon's on his second.
It's his second one, yeah. He's the one that I'm suspecting probably won't be here for the long run, Rodon. If anything, he'll be number 5, which we always kind of thought
he's
that.
He's going to be a number 5. He looked like he was going to be the ace.
No. I never believed in that.
I didn't believe in it, but I'm talking about what the team desired and what his slider looks like.
You might want something, but that don't mean you're going to get it.
Well,
he's a 4. At the height of his talent, maybe a 3. I never seen the ace. All right, we come on back, close this out. D and Davis Show.
Yo, what up? It's your man Jay Illa, official Chicago Bears DJ, and you are listening to the D and Davis Show. Turn it up.
D and Davis Show, last segment of the show. Ken, what you got for us, man?
RJ Hampton, who was ranked number 5 in recruitment from ESPN's Top 100, announced that he won't be going to college, but instead will join Australia's NBL as part of the Next Stars program. So he said, watching his interview this morning on
Get Up.
Thank you, D. Get Up. He was just basically talking about how he's never dreamed about playing college football basketball for a year.
I just think my dream has never been to play college basketball. My dream has always been to get to the next level and to play in the NBA. So, I mean, I think this was the best route for me. To live like a pro and play with grown men every day and not kind of have to juggle books and basketball and just focus on my main goal.
It's like
books.
And I was reading the article.
Can't wait to be a dookie.
He said that he wanted to accelerate his seasoning as fast as possible, and he sees that by playing with grown men. And also talked about how the player he enjoyed to watch this year was Luka Doncic, and how Luka isn't the fastest or most athletic, but can get to any spot that he wants to because how his vision, he sees the game, and that Luka played with how it benefited him playing with grown-ups, even though this would just be a year. But he said that he definitely sees this as a positive next step. And I mean, listen, props to him for bucking the trend and doing what he's doing. The team that he's
not the
going
first to do it, though, right?
No, it was another guy, but no.
But he's
Brandon Jennings did it.
Brandon
No,
Jennings
but it was
trainer,
was
right?
one that did the Next Stars program.
Oh,
It's
okay.
he got drafted in the 20s this year.
But I believe he's the first without any real background
he's the first
issues or
that
any
was eligible to go to
eligibility.
college.
Oh, okay.
Any
So it wasn't
eligibility
it wasn't
or anything.
anything as far as like you're saying, as far as perhaps his amateur status was
Right.
affected or academically there were any
Greenberg did say that. He's like, listen, it's not as like the other cases. This kid can get to any school he wants
and
to.
He said that, look, and I forgot, because I was reading an article on, I forget the gentleman that did it last year or the year before, but I was reading an article about him and talking about how welcoming the team was and how the Next Stars program really benefited him. So he's the second person to go through this, and the team that he is going to play for in New Zealand, I believe it's owned by former Florida player Walsh and also the Matrix, Sean Marion.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's what's up.
Some of the owners of the team.
And you said this is the next program?
The Next Star program.
Next Star through the NBA.
They get to, the team's basically
break it down
open
for us.
about, we're trying to help you to get to the NBA. So he basically gets an out in his contract for if an NBA team drafts him. So he can go back and play for that team. Let's just say he can go back and play for that team and then come back out again next year. Okay. But I'm sure this kid being a number 5 recruit, he's going to, if he stays healthy, he's going to get drafted by an NBA team, even if he kind of doesn't play well, because some NBA teams will look at the fact that he took those lumps early as a benefit.
Yeah.
I think the guy you're talking about on Oklahoma City, Terrence Ferguson, was that the kid? Next Stars Up? I believe that was it.
Hold on, let me see.
Because Ferguson went number 21 overall in the 2017 NBA draft by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Definitely could be right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I like this. I like the simple fact of, one, young man, go get your money and don't be exploited. If you have the talent and this is what you want to do, we don't tell this to tennis players. We don't tell this to swimming. We don't necessarily tell us to Man, baseball, you go to college for a couple of years. So 3 years you have to go mandatory for baseball. And
That's if you decide.
If you decide to go, but you can't go from high school to minor leagues. You have that.
Yeah.
You have that choice. If you have this, and also too, most of the European players, they start playing basketball. Giannis started playing professional basketball when he was like 15 years old. And when they come into the NBA, not saying that they are, going to be great players, but they do have that veteran seasoning to them, even if they're 19, 20 years old.
You're correct. I'm sorry, it was Terrence Ferguson.
Terrence Ferguson from OKC?
I saw an article on him last year about it.
Nice. So if you have that opportunity and you don't have the desire to go and deal with college basketball and NCAA rules, and as he said before, I ain't worried about class. I'm trying to get to my point. Trying to get to my my goal. You do that. Listen, as long as you're able-bodied and able-mind, you can go to school.
Guess what he didn't do, though?
What did he do?
Go to the G League.
No, he didn't. He didn't do that.
Your beloved G League.
Hey, well, listen.
He said, I'll go to New Zealand.
Hey, if you have, and we were just talking to Danny Perkins, co-host who McNeil and Perkins right here at 670 Score. He just came back from a big trip, right? And we was talking about the simple fact of traveling and how that's great for, especially for a young person who's from the States, and a lot of people from the United States don't even have passports. You know what I'm saying? They might, I'm going to go to the Dominican Republic and go hang out on the beach. Yeah, that's cool. But you know what I'm saying? It's a lot bigger of a world than that. And if this young man, he said on Get Up, his family's going with him. But they're going to be living with him, but he's getting up. This is his job. If you have that opportunity, my man, go for it. Yeah. And if you want to stay in the league, this is the thing, though. I think when it comes to that American mentality, you probably will have some kids, men, that don't want to go overseas. Like, I ain't trying to do all that. I will go to the G League. But if those options are open for them and for them not to be exploited in college basketball, that would be great. Now I'm waiting for the next dude who's probably going to be the next Zion Williamson to say, I'm going to do this too. That's when I think it's really going to be like, this dude is the top 5.
Not happening.
Yeah, he might not have time because they'll probably change it in 2022.
Also, that kid's going to get paid so much from the college under the table that what's the sense?
What's the sense? He's a top. You don't think a top 5 high school?
Well,
you don't think he's going to get paid? Not like
Zion Williams.
And it's all alleged. Everybody.
Zion's money was in duffel bags.
Would it hurt Zion's brand if he was overseas?
I don't think so. Not with basketball. You think so? With basketball, it's a global sport. Yeah, they want to be overseas.
You got to think those games don't come on in our prime time. Like Duke was a point. Like Zion was the biggest sports star in America.
Yes, he was.
But you can't be the biggest sports star in America in Australia. Like you can't. Like
Can you do it in China?
No. How many? I'm saying this. How many stars do we watch in foreign countries? And it's not for
only
special events.
Soccer. Only
exactly.
thing will be soccer.
Not for special one-offs or like the
Tournaments.
World Cup or no. I'm talking about their season.
It's the only thing
we don't
is
even
soccer.
know the type of competition. And that's the thing too. We can gauge Zion against college players. We don't know the level of competition in that league. And is it appealing to watch?
Is there any?
He's playing against guys out there that drive trucks on the weekends.
Might be.
Like,
shrimp on the barbie.
Is there any European league that's better than the NCAA?
Yeah, it would be some of those.
Is it Barcelona? Is it Barcelona's league?
Spain, I think, is up.
Italy, maybe.
Spain is definitely up there. It's some of those Euro leagues.
Maybe some in South America, depending on the year.
I don't think so.
Not in Brazil.
Not in Brazil. I would say no. I would give Argentina a better chance than Brazil. How many Brazilian studs are coming out?
Felicio.
I mean,
how many Brazilian studs?
But they do hoop in Brazil though.
Yeah, but I
they
mean,
they do hoop.
Nobody was like, now mind you, I love Nene Hilario. All right, let you know how much I've know of him since his real last name. He had a last name. All right,
Nene
but
Hilario.
Still, nobody was like, boy, down there, Brazil, man, they balling out of control. Like, nah, son. So I mean, it definitely some of those Euro leagues that we've been getting players from. You heard people say that those grown-up men is harder than playing in NCAA.
And let's not forget too, in some of those European leagues overseas, you have former NCAA college players. We wonder about where are they now? They're playing in those leagues, and you got some of their homegrown talent as well. So Zion, maybe he would have done well, but it's not as easy as you think.
I ran into our old high school Brother Rice Crusader, but he eventually went to Leo. Andre Brown, who ended up going to Leo and then ended up playing in DePaul.
Paul, yeah.
I ran into him in a Walgreens one day. We was just sitting there chopping it up.
You gave him some change?
No. No. Andre is doing very well for himself. Andre is doing very well for himself.
You had the world in your hands.
No. Dre is good. Dre is good. But no,
What's he doing?
He was balling over in China.
Okay.
And he was home for, I think the season had just ended or something. And we was just talking. He's like, man, D, I'm telling you, dude, that was one of the best decisions I made. Now, he didn't make it here in NBA, but playing over in China, he loved it. Loved it. So you do have former NBA players or top NCAA players. They go over to China and they go over to these other leagues. And they do very well for themselves. So the competition is there. But listen, I hope this is a trend because I'm all about dismantling the NCAA. I think it's a racket.
Here.
It's break it down. Burn it down. Burn it down.
Give them the death penalty.
Speaking of the NCAA,
Jesus, Ryan?
Nick Saban said that Tua Tagovailoa needs to challenge himself in the offseason.
What does that mean?
He cited that even though Tua had that ankle injury that probably played somewhat of a factor in his off play in the college championship, that still he doesn't want him to plateau and feel satisfied. Basically saying he needs to grind harder, which I think is true. That he needs to grind hard. And Nick Saban needs to challenge Tua because being an Alabama fan, I guess I'm a Tua fan, but I'm not like just, Tua. I don't know why, though.
I hope you don't say it like that.
But I think he needs to, when you look at what Trevor Lawrence did, he needs to step his game up and let us know that Clemson isn't just going to be rocking it to Alabama. Like you have to be the deciding factor in that moving forward. When a kid that this is his first season starting in college just demolished your team, and you just looked, even though you were hobbled, you looked like this was your first time playing.
I think that was part of it for Tua is Trevor Lawrence just kind of took away any mystique because he came in, second half, wins that national championship, and then suddenly he's the second best quarterback in college football.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Kenny, you like you said before, you're an Alabama fan. What what's the expectation of Tua when he goes to the next level?
Man, they are standing in line to get now because of what Trevor Lawrence did.
Because I think Trevor Lawrence is probably going to be a better.
This was before Trevor Lawrence won that starting job.
Okay.
That Miami was a team. People basically said Miami was going to tank this year if they were in the Tua Derby. I mean, Tua is not as short as Kyler Murray. Like he's 6 feet tall. All right, and he's a better passer than Kyler Murray probably too. He's a more pure passer than Kyler Murray. So as far as he can pass from the pocket a lot more consistently than Kyler Murray, because he really look at Tua, even though he's elusive, that's not his game. He loses it to get open, and then sometimes he'll take off. But he's much more of a passer. But I mean, remember, Trevor Lawrence cannot come out of college for another 2 years.
He was a true freshman, right?
Yeah, Tua can come out next year. So
would he be considered the number one prospect coming out next year?
Tua can come out after this year is what I meant to say.
So will he be a number one pick overall next year?
He's going to be if he throws up the similar numbers to last year.
Yeah, I would think so.
He's in the top 5. Like he's the number one quarterback coming off the board. And let alone, let's just say this: what if Kyler Murray, and he may be with all the tricks and gadgetry, what if he has a successful season? And you got a guy, even though they're two different games, but you have a guy that's taller than him that you've seen in the big pressure games in college football get it done. Like, no, I mean, nothing really outside of injury and falling back can stop Tua Tagovailoa if he performs well this season from being a high drafted quarterback in the next NFL draft.
And it's a pretty decent draft class for quarterbacks, at least allegedly. For
what's the name from Oregon is back.
Yeah, I always forget his name. 5 names to know. Tua, Justin Herbert is the Oregon guy. Yeah. Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason, and Jalen Hurts.
Jake Fromm. Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, depending on what he does at Oklahoma.
Can you get that Oklahoma magic put on him? Number one draft. Hey, before we get up out of here, I just want to send my condolences and good wishes to Howard Moore, former UIC Flames men's basketball head coach. He's also assistant up in Wisconsin. Howard lost his wife and young daughter in a head-on collision car crash over this past weekend. Howard is fighting for his life, and his son has been released from the hospital, so he's doing okay. Covered Howard for We Are Rica Radio down there, UIC Flames basketball. Great guy. man, just stand up, very professional. Looked out for us as young scribes trying to make it into the sports journalism business, and wishing him best wishes. And unfortunately, like I said, his wife Jennifer passed away. I actually played softball with Jennifer. Wow, this one I was playing at Oak Park League, a 14-inch softball league in Oak Park. And just kind of coincidence, like, oh, wow, you know what? Yeah, she told me that she was Howard Moore's wife. Beautiful woman, beautiful mother. Great to be around. Hell of a softball player too. She was great. So like I said before, for anybody here, D and Davis Show and WeGoRegalRadio.com, speedy recovery for Howard Moore and condolences for him losing his wife and his young daughter. Yeah, we definitely wish you the best. Also, we definitely want to send our wishes to Bill Buckner's family and Bar Star's family. Yes. All right, hey, make sure you download the podcast, subscribe, rate, all that good stuff. D and Davis Show and D and Davis The Flip, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Music, Stitcher, the TuneIn app, YouTube, and also through on Spotify through War on Anchor. We're on Twitter and Instagram at D and Davis Show, Facebook.com/D and Davis Show. I'm on Twitter at Demons1, DEMONZE1. Ken is on Twitter at That's Davis. Ryan's on Twitter at Ryan B. Ski. And thanks for sitting and coming on down with us on his vacay. Find Sid on Twitter at SidKid80 and read all his articles on WeAreRegalRadio.com. We will be back with The Flip this weekend. We have any guests this weekend? I don't think so. We'll be back with another Flip. Hopefully, it'll be bringing you all a lot of hilariousness. Yes. We definitely keep rocking with us. We appreciate it. And before you hear from us again, please don't do anything stupid. We gone. Keep your hands to yourself.